Hello there. Thank you so much for joining us. This is News Channel Nebraska. My name's Eric McKay. Let's take a look at our top headlines today. On the heels of a contentious televised meeting with Ukraine's president and Americans getting anxious about the economy, President Donald Trump addresses Congress tonight for the first time in his second term. Karen Kaifa is on Capitol Hill with this preview.
Amid the continued fallout from Friday's fiery Oval Office exchange with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky,
you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this.
President Donald Trump heads to Capitol Hill, facing skepticism from the diplomatic community and restlessness about the economy. The Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency has forced thousands of layoffs from the government workforce, with billionaire Elon Musk, neither a cabinet member nor an elected official, leading the charge. And on Monday, Trump said 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada will go forward as planned on Tuesday.
The tariffs, they're all set.
The latest measure of American consumer confidence from the Conference Board found the steepest decline in almost 4 years. Driven by concerns Trump's tariffs will boost inflation again. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said the tariff plan is misunderstood.
Let's let outside people who live and breathe off our economy, let them start paying, and let's reduce the tax burden on Americans. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. This is turning that tariff money back to the American people, and that's what Donald Trump's going to do.
Democrats hope to seize upon Trump's campaign promises to peel back prices in their speech responses.
He said, I'm going to bring down costs from day one. What do we see? We see egg prices wholesale up 23%, lumber prices up, coffee prices up, and all of the things he's done, including these tariffs on our allies, on Canada and Mexico, can bring them up even more.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Maintain, nourish, and support your health by visiting our Good Health, Good Life shopping tab. You'll find select multivitamins, probiotics, and more, designed for you. Make the Good Life even better and promote your health in 2025.
In other national news, the Department of Education has temporarily removed the online applications for income-driven repayment plans. This comes after a U.S. Court of Appeals last month blocked the agency from implementing former President Biden's Saving on a Valuable Education plan, known as SAVE. The plan reduces monthly payments and shortens the time it takes to get student loan forgiveness. It launched in 2023 but has been on hold since July because of lawsuits. Closer to home, Nebraska's top law enforcement officer urging lawmakers to not pass any medical marijuana regulations this legislative session, saying that pending litigation could render it moot. That didn't stop senators from considering bills that would set the framework for implementing medical cannabis across the state. At a General Affairs Committee hearing on Monday, medical marijuana, now the law of the land, overwhelmingly approved by voters and signed by Governor Jim Pillen, but still, cases around alleged misconduct in the petition process are tied up in courts. Attorney General Mike Hilger's office weighed in at Monday's hearing, saying legal matters still aren't settled with a pending state Supreme Court case.
If the court decides that the petitions should not have been on the ballot, then any changes made this session will be ineffective. More legal challenges exist or are in store.
But senators on both sides of the aisle say they have to enact the will of the people in a way that will be fair and workable for Nebraskans.
You can restrict it too much, where now you're going against the will of the people and what they wanted, and the people who have legitimate issues who need this medicine. We don't want it to be the Wild West, where anybody can prescribe it, anybody can have it, for any kind of number of reasons.
The ballot initiatives are self-executing. That means they don't need legislation to go into effect. That means if lawmakers fail to catch the winds of consensus this year, the Medical Cannabis Commission still has to go ahead, making the criteria to accept or deny applications for registered cannabis establishments by July 1st. Elsewhere in the unicameral, the Ponca tribe of Nebraska throwing their support behind a bill that would help fund a large project in Niobrara. The bill would designate about $15 million toward construction of a new cultural center, breaking it up into payments of $7 million over the next 2 years. The tribe says they hope it would be an economic driver for the state and also bring more awareness to their culture.
We are still here, and we still will be here forever, and so let's come together, let's celebrate and be able to continue efforts such as this Chief Standing Bear Culture Center. They're
still in the design phase of the museum, but say they hope to break ground next spring. The city of Norfolk has said goodbye to its former city administrator and now moving forward with its next administrator, the former state fire marshal. Hanky Hazelton has more.
After Governor Pillen announced the resignation of State Fire Marshal Scott Cords, Cords accepted the role as City Administrator of Norfolk, but in order for any of this to go forward and Scott to start his job, there has to be a approval and a vote by the City Council members first.
Consideration of approval of the employment agreement with Scott Cords for the position of Norfolk City Administrator. Discussion from the public. All right, seeing none, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, motion carries.
Mayor Shane Clausen said Scott Cords knows this community inside and out and has always been dedicated to making Norfolk better. He has the experience, he has the passion and the skills needed for this role. As the next city administrator, they look forward to a future under his leadership. Now, Scott will officially leave his position as fire marshal on March 7th, but will start the administration role on March 10th, which is this Monday. In Norfolk, Hanky Hazelton, News Channel, Nebraska.
The city of Beatrice has officially adopted a Safe Streets and Roads for All plan. It's aimed at addressing high traffic, poor safety areas where accidents, including injuries and fatalities, happen. Doug Kennedy has more.
Approval by the City Council is seen as a step toward helping secure federal grant funding for major improvements.
Beatrice is actually the first community in Nebraska to complete a safety action plan using Safe Roads and Streets for All funding, or SS4A funding.
A study by JEO Consultants was a result of a grant-funded effort that began in 2022. Senior Project Manager Mark Luchaharm says a 6-member local advisory team helped in the process, and input was sought through social media and public open house events. The JEO study looked at 10 years of crash data in Beatrice.
For that 10-year period from 2011 through 2020, there were a total of just over 2,200 crashes, 503 of which either involved a fatality or an injury to one or more of the occupants. And then of those, 46 were either fatal or severe injury crashes, with 41 of them, again, involving what we refer to as VRUs, or vulnerable road users, mainly anyone that's a pedestrian or a bicyclist.
Lonnie Birkland, Business Development Director for JEO, said the plan's needs assessment showed U.S. Highway 77 through Beatrice is a high priority for better safety.
Our prioritized project group number 1, we call it, is basically to implement a more holistic project along U.S. Highway 77, really through most of the limits of the city, from Dorsey on the north down to Mulberry on the south. And what we were recommending there is to look at a 3-lane street section, reconstruction, sidewalks that are set back, improve a whole bunch of the intersections along there that had noted safety issues. And I think this project alone, even though it's a big major project, it would address basically 9 of the top 20 high crash locations that were on that priority list.
Other high-priority areas for improved safety include Court Street, where projects will be moving forward with the relocation of a truck route. Birkland said improvement from about 1st to 10th Streets would help address a half-dozen high-accident locations. A third group of projects focuses on Lincoln Street, for which planning has already been underway. Beatrice City Council President Mike McLean said the important step now will be to implement recommendations in the plan, not just see the study sit on a shelf. From Beatrice, Doug Kennedy, News Channel, Nebraska.
Well, thankfully, Nebraska has remained in the clear when it comes to measles over the last couple of years. No single case reported last year or through the first 2 months of this year. But nationally, it had been considered eradicated in 2000. That doesn't mean people don't get measles. There have been cases every year, and they've been rising, peaking in 2019 with nearly 1,300 cases. It took a precipitous drop during the pandemic because almost no one was traveling, but it started to increase again with 285 cases last year.
What is concerning this year is that within the first 2 months, we already have 164 cases. So we are, we still have 10 more months to go. So there's still, a really high number of cases that is happening in the U.S. currently.
Concerns about measles slowly elevating, including the death of a child this year in the U.S. Some people are against the idea of a vaccine, but cases in the 1960s went from nearly 500,000 to fewer than 100,000 in a few years thanks to vaccines, and had been at less than 1,000 every year since 2000, according to the CDC.
I always reiterate and kind of encourage our patients to just like myself, talking to a primary care physician and getting the proper information and making that decision.
As of last Friday, the CDC reported 164 known cases of measles around the country. About 4 in 5 cases were in children, 34% of them in kids under 5. Nebraskans looking for careers in education have a new option to get 2 degrees in state. The University of Nebraska and Nebraska Wesleyan announcing a new partnership on Monday. The program allows students at Nebraska Wesleyan that study physics, chemistry, or biochemistry to then transfer into the College of Engineering at UNL as juniors and work toward engineering degrees there. It's the 4th dual degree program in UNL's engineering department, who also have partnerships with Metro Community College, UNK, and Wayne State. And the weather today, no doubt, has you dreaming of warmer weather and maybe summer vacation. Well, state tourism officials have released a list of ideas for those looking to travel around the state. Visit Nebraska announced the stops included in this year's Nebraska Passport program. It's an annual challenge that encourages Nebraskans and tourists to travel throughout the state, collecting stamps to earn prizes while also supporting local businesses. The Passport will again feature 70 stops organized into 10 themed tours. Travelers have from May to September to visit the attractions. You can find a full list at the Nebraska Passport website. And you can stay up to date with the very latest by following us on our website, newschannelnebraska.com. Click on the News tab there. You can also follow us on X, like us on Facebook and Instagram as well. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. This is News Channel Nebraska.